Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF NXT. I'm Mike today, Jim Ross, and Booker T here. And today on NXT, we're going to have Becky Lynch fight Madison Rayne for the Women's World Heavyweight winnings, which Madison Rayne won on Sunday on Collision or Hit, Mike today says. You got that right, Mike today, Jim Ross says. Becky Lynch hopes to become a two-time Women's World Heavyweight fighter. She's already won it at least 4 or 5 times in WWE. We'll see what happens here today on NXT, Jim Ross says. I'll tell you right now, Booker T says, Becky Lynch should be ashamed of herself, wanting to have another match with someone when there's so many other women wrestlers out there, fighters, overstars, whatever you want to call them. But she has to hog, the spotlight for herself, Booker T says. First off, Mike today says, Becky Lynch doesn't hog no spotlight. I don't know where you're getting this from, Mike today says. I don't know either, Jim Ross says, but Booker T's been working on has been healed for some time now, and he's hoping that we'll call him the waterfall of not even listening to what he says, because half of the time he is somewhere else. Jim Ross says, you're somewhere else, Booker T says. I'm worth listening to. At least I'm more cooler than Taz. Alright, Becky Lynch says, it's time for me to get my Women's World Heavyweight winnings back from Madison Rayne. And the truth is, Madison Rayne, you were the first TWF Women's Heavyweight fighter, not the first Women's World Heavyweight fighter. That was Shayna Baszler. So why don't you come out here now so you can talk, so we can get this business taken care of. Alright, Becky Lynch. We'll talk. Yeah. I made a mistake. I was the first TWF Women's Heavyweight fighter. And Shayna Baszler was the first Women's World Heavyweight fighter. So what? At least you were never the first at anything. Is that so? Because at least I was a 5-time Women's World Heavyweight fighter. I was a 3-time WWE Women's Heavyweight fighter, 1-time WWE Women's Tag Team fighter, 1-time WWE NXT Women's Heavyweight fighter. I think I've done a lot more in WWE on Raw, SmackDown, NXT than you ever did in your time in TNAW. I was a 5-time TNAW Women's Heavyweight fighter, a 1-time TNAW Women's Tag Team fighter. Yeah, well, good luck with that. But I'm going to beat you. Well, this is for the Women's World Heavyweight winnings. First, she is formerly from Ireland, but now living in 4-1 Reichs, Becky Lynch. And she is the Women's World Heavyweight fighter, Madison Rayne. Ding ding ding. It is true that, Becky Lynch right now is picking up Madison Rayne and body slamming her. Madison Rayne, one of the very few Jack TNAW dolls that we have here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering. The Manhandle Slam, Mike today says. Well, Jim Ross says Becky Lynch likes to call herself the man, and she likes to say she taught folks how to be great. But I think there were already folks that were great before her and the great that comes after her. 1, 2, and Madison Rayne kicks out. Is it like that one saying when someone says they're going to bring class and onlook, but then the class and onlook are already here? Booker T says, A body slam. Yeah, I guess you could say that, Mike Today says. But both Becky Lynch and Madison Rayne both have the onlook and the class, Mike Today says. They do, Jim Ross says. They're not bringing the class and onlook, since the class and onlook is already here, Jim Ross says. And who wants to be the women's world heavyweight fighter the most? Well, Mike Today says Becky Lynch right now is hoping that it will be her. She's hoping to either get her the dishandler or the manhandle slam, and hoping one of those two holds at the right time will make her the two-time women's world heavyweight fighter. Mike Today says, 1, 2, and only a 2, Jim Ross said. Booker T said, I know how it was like when I won the world heavyweight winnings, the first 4 times in WCW, then the 5th and 6th time in, WWF, WWE, so I know how it is to hit the bookend at the right time, at the right stead. And I hit the bookend at the right time and the right stead against Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, Vince Russo, Scott Steiner, Kurt Angle, and Rey Mysterio. Well, it looks like they're not doing... Oh! Right in the ring steeple, Mike Today says. Madison Rayne is now going to beat Becky Lynch like she did before on Sunday on Rampage, on Sunday on Collision or Hit, Mike Today says. Madison Rayne down on Becky Lynch. This one's over. Yes, it is, Jim Ross said. Put a fork in it. It's done. Yeah, I guess so. Booker T said someone got beat up badly in this match. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the women's world heavyweight fighter, Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne is still the women's world heavyweight fighter, but unlike Liz Morgan, Becky Lynch has onlook for Madison Rayne, and Madison Rayne's got onlook for Becky Lynch. Well, I can tell you one thing right now, Mike Today says. We saw a great women's match between Becky Lynch, formerly from the Folk Reich of Ireland, but now living in the 4-1 Reichs of Vinland. Madison Rayne, who I guess she's from the settled land. I don't know if she is or is not. Well, I can tell you one thing right now, Jim Ross says. We saw a great match between Becky Lynch and Madison Rayne, and I really never called any Becky Lynch matches. Becky Lynch came to WWE towards the end of my 2-diff run there, and even in my 3-diff run, I never really called any Becky Lynch matches, Jim Ross said. So this is a first for me. I'll tell you one thing right now, Mike. Today, and Jim Ross. Becky Lynch is a great wrestler, a great fighter, overstar, whatever you want to call him. And Madison Rayne was a little more greater than Becky Lynch, the Man, whatever nickname she wants to call herself these days. Alright, everyone. Mike Today said take it away to Gene Okerlund. Thank you, Mike Today and Jim Ross. I'm going to be talking with Becky Lynch here today on NXT, even though she did not win the Women's World Heavyweight winnings. Becky Lynch, I know it must be a little heartbroken, sad that you did not come away as a 2-time Women's World Heavyweight fighter. You're right, Gene Okerlund. It was not my day. You win some, you lose some, right? But it's how you deal with your losing. You win, great. You lose, you learn, and then you go up and you hope to win again. At the end of the day, I guess it just was not my day. But it is not me yielding. Because yielding and giving up was never one of my things. You see, I struggled for years with sadness. Alright? And on and off since I was 6 between years old. I wanted to be a skilled wrestler. you know, and a lot of folks told me back home in my former homeland of Ireland that you can't make it, it's not going to work. And I had to go through sundriest wrestling businesses like WOW and Starforum, you know, Women's of Wrestling, before getting to WWE and then going through all the things I had to do till I finally got seen as a main wrestler. Well, Becky Lynch, we do know your background and all the binds and hardships you had to overcome going from Ireland to 4-1 Reichs to become a skilled wrestler. But you made good for yourself. I mean, you're being what? A 4-time WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter, a 5-time Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, WWE Women's Tag Team Fighter, WWE NXT Women's Heavyweight Fighter. Yeah, I done very well for myself, but it's time to take a little break. And when I come back, I will be back in the same mindset and stand, and hopefully I will either win the Women's World Heavyweight winnings again, or who knows what's in store for me. Who knows what's going to happen. Who knows what's yielding for me. I'm the only one that can answer that asking thing. Alright, that's my talk with Becky Lynch. Back to you, Mike Today and Jim Ross. Thank you, Gene Okerlund, for talking with Becky Lynch here today on NXT. But I understand the show's not over yet, that we have another tag, we've got a weird tag team that wants to be put together. And that Astronema or Perone has has to deal with this. So let me get this straight, Track. Hold on, let me shift over. So let me get this straight, Track. You want to be in a tag team. Yeah, just think of it. I'm going to be teaming up with Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Alright, Track. What does Sheamus think about this whole tag team thing? Well, think of it this way. Fight night. You know, Shrek and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Yeah, but what does he think about it? Well, you can ask me what I think about it. Well, I talked over with Shrek, and I think, fella, me and Shrek like to have great matches. Banger after 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 banger. You get my grounds is that we both like to fight in single matches, one-on-one matches they call them, tag team matches. They don't care. So you and Shrek want to be a tag team. Is that what I'm getting at? Yeah, that's what you're getting at. Alright, it's done. You two got to come up with a tag team name for yourselves then. Stand up. Well, looks like it's all the time we got here for NXT. Mike Today, Jim Ross, Booker T. We hope you like NXT, and we'll see you tomorrow for Dynamite or Might.